rules. Hello and welcome to a new type of live stream. I'm Tim Wilms, editor-in-chief of the Unshackled, and I'm with Matty Rose from Matty's Modern Life, and I'm here with
wave, by the way. I'll wave.
And David Hiscox, editor of XYZ.
Thanks for having us, Tim. I always knew I'd end up in a bunker.
Yes, we decided in the current environment for the Uncuckables that we'd be down in a bunker. The first episode 1 is entitled Come Gab Us, which is a message to government or technology companies. If you want to try and intimidate us, that's where you've got to find us.
In the bunker.
Don't give them any ideas though. We'll have to start using VPNs to use Gab. And then they'll ban VPNs.
Well, BitChute has already been partially censored from the web.
Apparently it's supposed to be temporary. I emailed Optus yesterday, or the day before that. I direct contacted Optus and they said, oh, it's a temporary thing. I told them to stop treating me like a child.
Now, we are just on Facebook Live, and we are on the Unshackled channel for the first episode. There's going to be a dedicated channel for all future live streams. We're hoping to do it every Thursday, but not in the short term. We're seeing how a few episodes go, and if the audience like us, then yeah, we'll keep coming back.
Yeah.
And I'll check out the live chat. It'll come up on my... Oh, here we go, here. Let's see.
Oh, beautiful.
So we have
They're
people
They're in?
joining us.
Yeah. So address any complaints or anything in there.
Any questions?
Is this Facebook, is it, or is that YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah.
No, we've decided in the current environment that maybe Facebook is... Dave, can you just push that out of the way, that microphone's not in use?
Over here?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Come on, Dave. How are you doing? How long have you been in show business for?
Now, there is going to be a 4th regular member of the Uncuckables. He's unfortunately sick tonight. He hasn't caught the Cuck, and he recorded a message for us. James Fox Higgins of the Rational Rise. He'll be joining us from his location. I won't say it on this, but he can't come to the studio. He's going to be here via the internet. This is the message that he recorded for tonight.
Hi, this is James Fox Higgins. You might know me from the Rational Rise or from the Soviet Socialist state of Facebook. I'm very proud to be one of the Uncuckables, but unfortunately I can't join tonight's debut live stream. As you might have noticed from the sound of my voice, I am suffering the dreaded man flu. My wife tells me it's just a bug going around. I'm convinced it's the Australian government trying to take me out with bio-warfare. We'll see by the end of the week, but I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll look forward to joining the stream next time.
That was a very nice message of support. Who's just said, turn up, Matty and Dave? Am I being too dominating?
Maybe we got to get closer to the mic. We'll do one of these.
Yeah.
Just hold it there.
Yeah, good idea.
Mm.
Be a bit more masculine.
Yeah, sure.
How's that, everyone?
Is that better? We'll probably need another microphone
We will.
for the next one.
We will. Dave?
We'll just mute Dave. He doesn't say anything.
They can hear me, yeah. They'll hear me.
Yep.
Okay, we do have a running sheet for tonight. I've done one live stream with you two, and you're very hard to control. Okay, so
I promised to hijack the
This is
Unshackled
why
studio, actually. Yeah, there's a meme. We're gonna make it a meme, but
we have to.
We're not quite
about
ready yet. We're not quite
the
ready for
race.
that.
We have to talk about the race.
Oh, you mean the Grand Prix?
The Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
the
was
grand prize.
yes, so you like that race?
I do like that race. It's my favourite race. You'd almost say it's the grand race.
The grand race.
Okay, so let's talk about the platform that we're not on tonight, which is Facebook. Now, Matty, you absolutely hate Facebook.
Oh yeah, I despise Facebook. I deleted my real Facebook account over a year ago now, and I haven't regretted it for a second. It is a terrible and cancerous website that everyone now has a moral obligation to abandon. So what people should be doing is going and getting all the pictures and videos, all your data, downloading it onto your computer. You can use the pictures to make a photo album. That's what I did. I made a really good photo album, and I can now remember the years of Facebook that way, or those years that I was on Facebook that way. And I got rid of it. I deleted it, and then I just left it be because I didn't really give a shit about it. And then today, when I found out the policy that they just brought out, I basically got enraged. It annoyed me that much because they've now decided that what they deem more white nationalism is going to be against their policies. And if you actually read the statement from Facebook, it's horrendous. They're making the direct connection between white nationalism and terrorism, which is horrendously offensive to all white people. It's basically a racial slur. They have essentially just slurred an entire race of people and are saying that if you are the kind of person who says it's okay to be white, which is what they consider white supremacy, if you say it's okay to be white, you're essentially banned from the platform. So I made a policy for my Discord server, and I'm going to apply this to my life now, that if you are still on Facebook, then you are basically dead to me, unless you are a media organisation and you are spreading the word, or you've set up a fake account and you're trolling and trying to bring down the website from the inside, just
Matrix
subvert
style.
it. Yeah,
Neo
Matrix.
style.
You're going Neo style
Yeah.
in, and you're trolling the crap out of people in order to make them hate the site even more. But everyone should be leaving the site. It is your moral obligation now to leave the site because they are a anti-white site. Officially, they are officially anti-white. It's okay to be a black nationalist on Facebook. It's okay to be a Jewish nationalist on Facebook. You could be an Asian nationalist. You could probably be an archonic nationalist. You know, you could be a space alien nationalist and they wouldn't ban you. But if you're a white nationalist, they will ban you. And I'm not exactly sure how they think that would be acceptable. I'm pretty sure it violates the law in Australia anyway, but don't expect the Australian Human Rights Commission to do anything about it because we all know where they stand.
I think I'll shuffle over a bit just to Dave's a bit out of frame. Not that surprisingly, I just noticed that myself watching the stream. Nobody actually complained about it.
Well, you know,
That's not very
you're
nice.
keeping my ugly mug off the camera. It's probably a good idea, guys.
So there was a good comment there by Port Film Co-op that said there's 25 people watching, 15 are probably from the government. We've probably got a few regular viewers already.
I basically always operate under the assumption that everything that we say and do is being watched and
Yeah.
listened to. It's just,
And it wouldn't change what I said anyway, because I'm always here promoting
you're always
freedom
right.
of speech, and I'm always right, and I'm always promoting I'm always promoting freedom of speech and peaceful dialogue, and I've said quite clearly that any committing of any crime or the advocating for the commission of any crime is the incorrect way to do it. Right now, I think our strategy needs to be the Gandhi strategy of just peaceful defiance and doing it that way. Yeah, because I mean, he did it through peaceful means. He raised an entire nation through peaceful means and overthrew a tyrannical government. So it's not necessary that we have to resort to violent actions. I don't think it's necessary at all. It's not something that we should be advocating for ever. However, we do need to stand up for ourselves and for our people in some way, and I think peaceful defiance is the way to do that. And the way we start our peaceful defiance is by shamelessly being proud of who we are and proud of the fact that we are of European heritage, even if Facebook don't think that European people have any kind of value, and even if our government thinks that European people are somehow supposed to accept being second-class citizens in our own country. But you know what? If that's the way they want to play it, we'll keep telling the people what we're going to tell the people. And I would imagine a lot of people have been woken up over the last week. And whilst trolling on Facebook, I'm seeing a lot of distaste with the current policies of the government and the fact that people are going to be voting for minor parties. I think the major parties are deluded if they think they're going to win people's votes and not continue to leak votes to minor parties if they keep doing what they're doing.
I found it very interesting that the language in the Facebook statement, although I'm intrigued at what... It sounds like this chat is amazing.
Yeah, you're missing it out. Where is it?
It's the highlight of my Monday nights, reading the chat while Matty talks. I find it really interesting, the language used by Facebook, because they even list white separatism as something that's illegal and something that's directly connected to hate crimes and terrorism. So there's some interesting stuff in there, because basically we can't even white flight. We can't even say, look, we literally just want to be left alone.
Yep.
Also, does that criminalize talk about the possibility of an independent West Cape in South Africa? Like, you have South Africans in the West Cape where, like, it's majority white or coloured as opposed to black.
Yeah, what about if Western Australia, there's the movement to have them as a separate country? Would that be considered white separatism? Though I interviewed Dennis Hudson, he actually told me that it's pretty bad over there in the West as well.
Well, they shouldn't try too hard. I've always hated West Coast Eagles, so you know. But yeah, they're literally trying to criminalize an entire strand of political thought.
Yeah.
And they're criminalizing the kind of thought that underpins what
Facebook are anyway.
about.
Facebook are making it against their rules.
Yeah.
But where Facebook goes, they did it after speaking with the government, and that's what's scary. They've spoken to the government, and then Facebook have come out and done all this stupidity after speaking with Scott Morrison. So I'm wondering where they got this idea. Did they just decide to do it all of a sudden? Did they get it from the government? Or are they doing it of their own accord and it's just Facebook and the government aren't that stupid and oppressive and anti-white?
Well, let's go back a few days. So this announcement was made by Facebook overnight. I learned about it Thursday morning, but on Tuesday, that's when the Lads Society, RV Yemeni, and another one of Neil Erickson's pages, Nationalist Uprising, were deleted from Facebook. And I was able to get a hold of an email from Facebook sent to somebody who wants to remain anonymous, but I verified it, that said that the Facebook has deleted Lad Society, Tom Sewell, and Neil Erickson from the platform under its dangerous people's policy.
And if you have a look at the dangerous people's policy, it lumps them in with terrorists, human traffickers, and mass murderers.
I mean, you interviewed Tom Sewell for a good amount of time. Like,
yeah, I didn't get terrorist or mass murderer from the guy. I got a man who is dedicated to his people, who really wants to give young men of European heritage a community and a place to go and work out and spend time with, wouldn't say specifically like-minded men, but men who want to be proud of who they are and proud of their own heritage and identify by their own heritage without feeling ashamed for it or without being shamed for it. I didn't get any inkling of any kind of terrorism, and if you have a look at their Facebook page before it got taken down, it was essentially boomer cuck content. The most outrageous was the one that they put on the Radio National thing, where it was just them boxing with some like hard-hitting music.
well, we've learnt from
they called it a neo-Nazi fight club. It's not even like it's not a neo-Nazi fight club. It's demonstrably not. It's defamation to call it a neo-Nazi fight club.
The Christchurch killer, he was a personal trainer, so there's the connection there between personal fitness.
Yep, and you know what?
He probably drank water as well.
He probably drank water
and milk.
and milk.
Yeah.
Was that in the video that I put up today? It's like they said it was Bill Shorten who's going. What does he do? He goes,
not all white far right terrorism. Not all white far right hate speech ends with terrorism, but all white far right hate speech terrorism. Sorry, starts with hate speech.
So I put a meme up. What is it? Not all milk drinking leads to terrorism, but all terrorists started on milk.
But you do know that milk is now a symbol of white supremacy.
Is it?
Everything is white supremacy.
You didn't know that. Even Peter put out a meme.
Is that the case?
Yes.
Really, is that the case?
Yes.
Is that actually the case?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is
Apparently, even
okay.
even that is white supremacy. Like we've got 14 words.
Yeah.
1 plus 4. Yeah.
Apparently, blowing a kiss is white supremacy.
That was a neo-Nazi salute.
A neo-Nazi
Yeah.
salute. I did it with both hands.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't work like that.
that was the more Italian kind. Huh?
Yeah. Oh. Isn't like it's when he's doing one of these ones?
Sure,
It's like, you want to eat?
Yeah, that's white supremacy too. Yeah.
Well, that means if you go to India and they do this, it's like that's you want to eat.
No, those Indians, they're white supremacists. That's
secretly.
where the Aryan race came from.
Well, it's funny because on my Fraser Anning vlog, I got a large number of comments that were very negative towards Fraser Anning from mostly foreign people, but one of the foreign people, the only Indian I saw commenting was like, "Go Aussies, Aussie."
Well, a lot of Indian Australians are very based.
Oh, Indians are based themselves. If you have a look at the surveys about Indian attitudes towards people of a different race, it's probably one of the most based countries. I was going to say the R word, but I don't use that because it's an anti-white racial slur. But they are one of the most ethnocentric countries in the entire world. The question is, would you live next to someone of a different race? And Indians are by far the most likely to say no.
That's really interesting because India, like Brazil, they're a favorite little toy of the left.
Yeah.
They like to lefties like to present India as an example of how multiracial or multicultural society can work. But you're saying that their attitudes are actually very based.
Well, they're extremely based. And if you go, they're very ethnocentric. They're so ethnocentric that you'll have like a tribe in one town and a tribe in another town, and they'll literally hate the people in the town over.
So they're like Italy, basically.
Oh, it's more. They're more centric than that. Like if you are an Indian, you almost can't, like a lot of them just won't be friends with someone from a different city. And that's not even lying. A lot of them just won't be friends with people from a different city because they're that dedicated to their own in-group.
Here's where
They're all ethnically Indian, except they all have different Indian ethnicities. So it's kind of like a Europe in that tiny little area where they'll often also speak different languages. They are like one big Europe in that tiny little area where they are almost their own race in a lot of ways.
I invited you to go on a tangent when I shouldn't have.
Tangents are how we operate.
Yeah.
We told you we were going to hijack
That's
this.
the only reason we're here, because we don't have to stay on point. We're just going to talk about whatever we want.
Here's the thing about Indians in Australia, though, because I've often heard the argument that Indians should be allowed to come to Great Britain and to Australia because they're formerly a part of the British Empire. So they have that British connection, they have that British heritage. But the thing is, they pretty much fought for their independence and they got it.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to say that they should be able to come to a white country because they've got that British connection, then let us take over your country again. Let the British Empire take over India.
So
if
that's
you want
your
to be
logic.
here. That's my
Well,
logic.
I think that's fair logic. You can't have one or the other.
They're
You
trying to
can't-
have their cake and
yeah.
eat it too.
Well, the United States, that's a independent country. They fought off the British, yet they're still part of the Anglosphere, as you call it.
Yes, but they're actually English.
Yeah,
They're actually white.
Are Americans going to?
So it's okay for if they do it, but not for the Indians to do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got that logic there.
This is why we have to talk about race.
This is why we have to talk about race. They are, they're descended from the English. That's right.
I
They're
think
actually descended from the English.
I do think I've got a good list of topics tonight, so I don't think that you need to go on tangents all the time. Let's talk about Gab, which has exploded since the the permazucking that we just mentioned. But it began when Blair Cottrell and Eric Erickson were banned from Twitter after they were already banned from Facebook. And it always seemed like the Australian nationalist movement had been trying to cling on to Facebook and then Twitter for as long as possible. But after the plug was finally pulled, those two went over to Gab, and then everyone suddenly migrated there. I noticed a lot of people who were following me. I'm not sure if you noticed the same, like, oh, I know that person. Like, I send them a message on Gab, hey, welcome over. There's been a lot of familiar faces there, which has been great.
And that just shows you why we've got to abandon Facebook and Twitter. We've already basically abandoned Twitter. If you're still on Twitter now, you're just a cuck, and you can...
I've never been into Twitter.
It's a leftist cesspit. So
you got banned.
Yeah, I've had 3 accounts banned now for trolling. That's all I was using.
Really, I don't believe.
No, just being a massive troll. But yeah, I was banned from Twitter originally, and then this is after I formally quit Facebook. But I formally quit Facebook because in a 12-month period, I was maybe on it for 8 of those months because I was banned so often, just for trolling and saying things that the left don't like. Nothing I said was actually bad. It would never ever be banned on Gab. But it's good. What it tells you is that people need to get off Facebook, and we need to basically tell people right to their face, get off Facebook, delete your Facebook. You have to delete your Facebook for the good of the country.
The counter argument that's been put to me for that, because I've said to various nationalists, why, like, given how poorly you're treated by Facebook, why do you persist with it? And their argument is that's still where all the masses are. Gab, even though more people are going there, it's still an echo chamber. It's still your people. Because that's what they want to do. They want to reach the masses, and like it or not, they're still on Facebook.
Well, that's why you make that exception to media companies. Or basically going in like Neo style, like Matrix style, like you phone yourself in, you try to get them out. Exactly.
So rather than just abandon it completely, if there's a place for guys like Make Australia Grouse Again, or you XYZ and the Unshackled and all these other people making media pages or some sort of Facebook page doing whatever, but it's now incumbent on people who still have those media organisation pages to encourage people to get on Gab as often as possible, or at least get on MeWe or leave Facebook, delete your Facebook account. There is no reason to have a personal Facebook account. There's no good reason to have a personal Facebook account whatsoever. And right now, people who still have a personal Facebook account that's actually genuine, real information, you're just handing your data over to the robot, Captain Zuckerberg, who's barely even human, to sell to the Chinese government. That's basically what you're doing. You're saying, okay, Zuckerberg, go and sell all my data, or I don't care, whatever. And you're letting people monitor you essentially with your permission at this point.
The tactics tell us a lot about what I think they want. Because they wait until something like this happens for them to take action. Like the fact that they've waited for a massacre of 50 Muslims to ban Neil Erickson, Avi Yemeni, Blair Cottrell from Facebook.
Isn't it shameful that they would use the death of people to push their political agenda so shamelessly as well?
The fact that they've done that seemingly in connection to the massacre is actually defamation in itself, because it's inferring that they are somehow connected to that massacre.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so there's...
Oh, we just got a super chat from Port Film Co-op.
You're supposed to wait until the people finish their point, and then you go to the super chats. Do you not know how to do this?
I'm new to super chat.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Now you decide to take charge.
The other aspect of this is that they actually want to quarantine Facebook as well. Because, like, if you try to share minds to Facebook, you have to go through the whole "Are you a bot?" rigmarole and all that sort of stuff. It was funny. Yeah, it's so they are happy to purge like certain amounts of people as long as they can keep everybody else on Facebook. As long as they can keep enough people happy, they basically want to quarantine normies and normie conservatives on Facebook. And so they're happy to let a little bit of their image slip and a little bit of the mask slip.
Well, there's still all the major corporations that pay them advertising money. And so as long as they're getting all the big companies, the virtue signaling companies paying for advertising there, that's why I don't think the Facebook business model is going to collapse as people think, because there's already so much advertising has converged on Facebook and Google.
Yeah, they never purge everybody all at once. It's always in dribs and drabs, and they rely on that. They rely on us to like jump up and down about it for just a few days, and then everybody just kind of settles down.
This is why I've just taken a stand, and
it's a good idea. Like we've got to like
I will not
maintain the rage.
I will not associate with any individual who maintains a personal Facebook account from now on. I don't care unless you're in the media unless you're in the media and you have a legitimate reason and you're using it to convert people and wake normies up. That's fair enough. Okay, do that. But make sure you keep in mind you're trying to get people off. But no, if you have a personal Facebook account that you are still continually using, I don't want anything to do with you. You're a traitor. You are not on my side. You are in the Matrix and you're willfully giving your freedom away for nothing. You're doing why? You don't need Facebook. You're better off without it.
Now, before I go into...
You can read the super chat now.
I already did.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
What is it?
the actual comment.
Yeah.
Off topic, Tarkovsky, the greatest filmmakers, made Christian films in the atheist USSR and suffered for it. Let's not forget this great filmmaker.
Thank you.
You're missing,
Okay.
yeah, you're missing out a lot in the live chat. You chose not to view it.
I can view the live chat. I'm okay. There we go.
There's a lot going on there. You're missing all the jokes as well.
Whatever. I'll watch it another time.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. Send us super chats. We'll read the super chats.
Okay, yep, good idea. Now, this leads me on to the next part of the Facebook new rules, is that a lot of normie conservatives, this just happened today, they're now moving all over to MeWe, and my thinking is that probably Gab's a bit much for them, and so like people who sort of support Corey Bernardi and Pauline Hanson, they're now all opening MeWe accounts, join our group on MeWe. They're starting to see the writing on the wall now, and so I've reactivated my MeWe account. And I think the Unshackled will do one as well. It seems that minds.com is not really happening. I know that you're active on there, but sort of I'm hearing MeWe all the time now.
Yeah, I've got a MeWe account as well. I set one up just in case because it's good to have something everywhere. I'll probably go and put Matty's One Life page there if that's where people are going. I saw that they do respect freedom of speech, but
For now,
that's exactly right. How long will they respect freedom of speech?
That's the thing. Like I've made the argument. Basically, they'll just let us migrate over to other sites and bit by
have a look
bit.
at who owns Have a look at who owns MeWe before you make a decision. I'm not going to say anything, but have a look at the individual who owns it and tell me if there's something that you notice there that maybe makes you not want to trust them all that much. Maybe potentially, not saying anything. Just maybe go there and have a look and make up your own mind.
It's only a matter of time before something happens, and then the globalist media and the political elite, the political establishment start jumping up and down about MeWe. And they'll call for MeWe to be censored. You'll have like all the payment companies sort of pulling out of them. You know, their plan is to basically chase us to platform to platform to platform until there's nothing left. And then once they're done with that, they're going to bring in like essentially laws outlawing us from even meeting together. That's the end game.
Because this is the players that we've got. I'll just list them. So not only do we have the government, but we have the big social media companies. We now have the telcos blocking access to sites such as BitChute, LiveLeak, 8chan. I probably left a few off. And of course, we have the credit card payment processors. And I think Paul Joseph Watson said it best, that imagine your credit card payment to like just buy like a muffin or something has declined because of somebody in Silicon Valley.
It's a horrendous abuse of human rights. And if the left were genuine in their support of our right to freedom of association and freedom of speech and freedom to use our money the way we want, then they would be jumping up and down. But the fact that the left right now are essentially jumping on the bandwagon trying to get people silenced just shows you exactly where they sit. They don't believe in freedom of speech. Freedom of speech to a leftist is a tool to gain power in order to silence everyone else. I think I can see their end game, like you said, but have a look at the way people have reacted to this, even this white nationalist thing. If you go and have a look at the comments on Sky News or even Channel 7, I believe, or any of them, people are absolutely up in arms about it. And I was furious. It is racial discrimination.
The establishment know they're losing, basically.
They know they're losing. That's the thing. That's the positive aspect of it. They know that they're losing. They know that we are gaining traction every single day. And yeah, sure, they're going to try and silence us right now, but every time they try and silence us, we just grow in support. It's just a matter of whether or not they can silence us in time before we have enough support. Or what happens if they actually ultimately try and just silence us right away. Then what are they going to do? People are going to wake up very, very quickly. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the next few years? Because I think the establishment are playing a very dangerous game. And thank God we have an election coming up. Here is praying to God that we get a Senate crossbench controlled by nationalists who actually respect freedom of speech and just hold whoever becomes the government by the balls, as One Nation said in that thing. They were going to hold them by the balls and tell them, respect our rights or we will not pass a single law. Respect our freedom of speech. And I love the fact that One Nation were trying to get funding to fix our gun laws and give us back our right to self-defense with a firearm. I love that.
I think most One Nation voters will.
And here's the thing, I was completely off them after Emma Eros. I was completely off them after Emma Eros. But looking at that, I'm like, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one of my preferences now. You can be preferenced.
Well,
you won't get my first vote.
They're still misguided. But that was the point that I made today as well. Because... yeah, conveniently, this hit piece has been in the pipeline for 3 years. And they just happened to publish it today, like a week and a or yesterday, or whenever it was, a week and a half after the massacre in Christchurch. And the title of the piece is How to Sell a Massacre.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Again, by inference, they are
What a
connecting One
horrendous
Nation
title.
to terrorism.
I'll improvise since we'll go straight to that topic now. The Al Jazeera entrapment. Yeah, and as you mentioned, this was a 3-year operation with this undercover plant Roger Muller. It seems like you shouldn't trust people with the last name Muller. I think.
Well, Mueller's done well, like in America. That's fantastic. Maybe Donald Trump will stand up.
So he set up a fake organization, gun rights in Australia, to try and infiltrate at first the National Rifle Association, then entrap One Nation's James Ashby and Steve Dixon. And this was a journalism deception that I've never seen before, because they have essentially not reported a story, they've created one. Yes. If they don't put this Roger Mueller in, then the story doesn't happen. Steve Dixon and James Ashby don't discuss. And it seemed to me when they were talking about the 10-20 million, they were sort of talking about in general, like, oh, if we had that,
if we had this and if we had that.
Yeah, I'm sure like if you had a lot of things, like life would be a lot easier.
And then they filmed a meeting inside the NRA where the NRA have told them what they do and how they say, oh, we go on the attack and we do this.
It was, I looked
at that and I'm like,
yeah, NRA, like, okay. I already knew they did that. Like, you just have to look at how the NRA, how they state their, how they approach their public relations, how they react after massacres. Like, they were pretty much saying what they do, just with a hidden camera.
Exactly.
It's how they win as well. Like, you think left-wing organisations don't do exactly the same
They
thing?
do worse. Yeah. They actually do use tragedy to push their political agenda. Yes. They will genuinely dance on the graves of individuals just so that they can use that to push their censorship agenda, as we have just seen. It's absolutely unconscionable what they've done since Christchurch. If they were capable of shame, they would be ashamed, but they're incapable of shame, so they don't care. They'll keep doing it, and until enough people stand up and say, no, you can't do that, that is disgusting, stop doing that, stop attacking innocent people's liberties and freedoms just because someone else has gone and done something. How come whenever there's Islamic terror and it's inspired by the Quran, like you have a look at the Quran, it instructs, it's not controversial to say that anymore, it does actually happen. A Muslim will go out and commit an act of terror in the name of Allah, and everyone's just all of a sudden, no, you can't blame this, and you can't blame Muslims, and not all Muslims, and you know, anyone who says that, it's their fault, and blah 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 blah. But then when a white guy goes and does something, and we all turn around and immediately say, no, that's bad, we don't want that to happen, that shouldn't have happened, he shouldn't have done that. We've never ever called for that kind of violence. We don't listen to any book or any kind of individual that calls for that kind of violence. That's not what we do. But suddenly we're all guilty. And how does that work? Is it because of the color of our skin? And that's the thing. It is because of the color of our skin. It is because
I
we're
read
white.
your article. It was the title of it was about Andrew Bolt's latest column, and he's been one of the sort of conservatives lately.
He's the most based of all the Sky News presenters, which is why he's the best.
He talked about that the identity politics of the left, like, wouldn't, if you're preaching identity politics, then, you know, that your identity is your characteristics, then wouldn't it logically occur to you that then white people would begin to think the same way?
Exactly right. If it's good for them, why is it not good for whites? And to say otherwise is flat out racial discrimination. It's extremely offensive based on race, and I'm not sure why the Human Rights Commission hasn't taken them to task on this by now. They really should have. Someone should actually make a complaint and force the Human Rights Commission to either say, no, you can't do that, you can't discriminate against white people either, or admit that they are indeed an anti-white organisation and explicitly anti-white, and the entire purpose of them is to shut down white people. And I think it's about time someone did make a Human Rights Commission complaint, especially about Facebook and this latest act by them, because their policy of saying white nationalism is bad but no other race is racial discrimination, and it's extremely offensive and humiliating based on race. And it's not like it's their honestly held opinion. They're stating what they believe to be facts about white people. They can't do that under our law. It's very, very clear that they can't do that, but for some reason they're allowed to get away with it. I don't know why they are allowed to get away with it. I don't think they are, and honestly I think it's about time someone did take them to the Human Rights Commission for doing that, and again force the Human Rights Commission to either hold Facebook to account for their actions, or show the world, show all Australians that they are an explicitly anti-white organisation and we should be treating them as such.
We just got a super chat from Dear Beltran, $2 saying, let David speak. So David, the floor is yours.
Oh, the other comment I was going to make, the other point.
Well, I did actually interrupt him a lot anyway on the Monday live stream. I watched it after.
The other point about this basically hit piece. This is how the media operates.
That's me.
As well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Like
I might have said some things before.
Your point that the media basically created the story. That's what the media does. They've always either got something in the pipeline, or they just latch on opportunistically to the latest viral video, the latest little scandal, and put their spin on it. Like we can sometimes go with conspiracy theories that they've just latched onto this new story to distract from the other story. That's kind of true, but like that's actually how they operate. Like every week or so, every week, every fortnight, every few days sometimes, there's always a new outrage, and it's always based on a few different things. It's always based on painting conservatives, white people, just conservative figures, conservative organizations, conservative media organizations as evil, as bad. And we find out time and time again that it's based on lies. And us in the conservative media, or the alternative media, we will basically destroy their narratives every single time. But the media never acknowledges that. They keep running with their initial narrative. And because 6 months from now, like there will be people who are still convinced that there was like a hate crime convinced against Jesse Smollett or something like that, or that he's not entirely.
Well, he's
bad,
been
you know what I mean?
released without charge. He
Yeah,
But
just
the
had to
police have
forfeit-
said that he hasn't been exonerated, though.
Yeah.
They've been, and the police were very upset about that.
6 months from now, like we can guarantee that the Democrats will still be going on about Russia collusion as well.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
Trump,
Yeah.
Russia, possible
Yeah,
collusion.
years from now, like the ABC will still be saying that Fraser Anning was at a Nazi rally in St Kilda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to finish? I've got.
That's basically how they operate. Like it's
Shut up, dear.
it's a constant stream of lies,
Mm.
and there's nothing that we can do about it other than destroy the media.
Well, we need to let people know just how untrustworthy they are and get people away from the fake news media. They're they are least trusted than a large number of organisations, and I think their trust levels have never been this low. One thing on what you were just saying, Blair Cottrell is a perfect example. Even the conservative media, Sky News, are still going on calling him a neo-Nazi
Yeah.
based on what is now well known to be a fake account that has been called out repeatedly by Blair as a fake account, even though Blair never in public has actually expressed any kind of national socialistic, i.e. Nazi views. He's never said anything that you would say, yes, that is definitely a neo-national socialist in public. The entire narrative of that is based on a fake Facebook account that he has said is fake, and they're still running that narrative. And I don't know why he hasn't sued them for defamation. I guess that he must have a reason for it. But
Yeah, we saw the conservative king, as I call him, Chris Kenny,
Oh.
Cuck Kenny, as I like to.
Fool.
Yeah,
What an absolute fool.
This was quite hilarious on his Kenny on Media program Monday night. He said that it was the ABC's fault for making Blair famous by having him on Hack Live.
I know.
Because Brenton Tarrant, that's one of the alleged comments that he made in support of Blair, and so Chris Kenny was saying that it was the ABC, or they created him, and like they partly radicalized Brenton Tarrant, and then he's like, oh well, we've like banned Blair from our network, and when he appeared, like we took appropriate action. We're the real responsible
Gee,
ones.
that guy's
Virtue
cucking
signal.
so hard. Wow.
He's not going to win any support from the leftists.
No.
And any non-leftist, conservative, or libertarian, or whatever, with more than half a brain, who has actually heard Cottrell speak, knows that Chris Kenny's just made a complete and utter tit of himself. I saw that, and I threw up in my mouth. It was that sickening.
If you're on Twitter, Chris Kenny is quite hilarious. He's busily responding to all these like leftists on Twitter who are saying Sky News is hate speech, and he's replying to all of them saying, no, that's wrong, you should correct. No, we're not like that at all. That's like he's like going through all these leftists.
Has this guy learned nothing?
No, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not very smart.
Yeah, he has no concept of the idea of never apologize, always escalate.
Yeah, you should have seen him today on One Nation on these, because he's one of the he's got 3 shows. He's got the Kenny Report during the day, he's got Kenny on Media Monday night, and then Kenny on Sunday. So,
And like you said, he has no idea about this whole never apologize, always double down. Like you look at Fraser Anning.
He's supposed to be a political
Exactly.
commentator.
He's there as
Got no
controlled
concept
opposition.
of it.
They put him in there as controlled opposition. What I loved about today was Fraser Anning's open letter. Did you actually have his open letter to PM Scott Morrison? Did you see that one
No, I
on
haven't.
on the Pickering Post? He has absolutely torn Scott Morrison a new asshole. It was beautiful. I've looked at this, and I started glowing on the inside. I was like, oh, this is just amazing. I'm falling in love with you, Fraser. It's just fantastic. He is an absolute superstar of a man. And of course, the Electoral Commission are delaying the party registration because they're as corrupt as anything, obviously, if they don't register it. But who knows?
We just got a $1 super chat from Senator Slayer.
That is absolutely tight as balls.
But
What is wrong with you, mate?
he didn't write anything.
He
There's
didn't
nothing
write
for
anything
there's
either.
nothing for us to read out.
Goodness gracious, Neil. What are you doing to us?
Now, you mentioned Fraser Anning there. Now, the mainstream media, they believe that after
Thanks, Neil, by the way.
his
Thanks very
Christchurch statement, they thought that they had destroyed Fraser Anning. And so that's why they moved on to Pauline Hanson and David Koch on Sunrise, you know, pointing in her face.
It's almost like David Koch knew something, huh?
Expressing, dare I say it, some traits of toxic masculinity.
I don't think you could call David Koch even half a man, let alone a toxic man.
He's toxic.
He's toxic, but not a man. So I don't know what you would call that. Just
Toxic soy.
Just a toxic individual.
So Pauline Hanson was the next target, and as we have seen, she has continued to be the target. And we had the announcement today from Scott Morrison that he'll put One Nation below the Labor Party, not going as far as to put them below the Greens, but below Labor.
I found that interesting because, first of all, who cares? It's hardly going to affect One Nation's chances at winning seats if you really think about it. They're mainly going to be going through the upper house anyway. But in terms of Scott Morrison and the Liberal Party, it shows you where they sit and where their actual priorities lie. Because if they were really trying to win the election, their main rival is the Labor Party. So they'd put the Labor Party last. Everywhere they go, they'd always put the Labor Party last in order to make it more likely that the Labor Party wouldn't win a seat, regardless of where they were. But by putting One Nation last, they're essentially telling everyone, without realising that they are in it for the establishment, not for Australia. They are more concerned about keeping the establishment power, keeping the Labor Party and the Liberal Party on top, than they are about actually representing the people and actually even winning the election. Ultimately, they're more in favour of a Labor Party government than they are of letting One Nation win seats. And it's pretty horrendous from their part, and it shows how incompetent Scott Morrison actually is.
Tim, what was the primary vote for the Liberal Party and the Labor Party in New South Wales?
It was in the low 30s.
Yeah.
I should bring it up now. Just keep talking for a moment. I'll bring it up.
Because I heard like the Labor Party trying to defend like their results in New South Wales, so they know they're on the nose. Like we keep talking about every week, the support, the percentage support for other political parties just keeps growing and growing and growing. I think it's entirely likely in coming years that we'll see the Liberal Party and the Labor Party essentially merge and possibly even die away, and we're going to see new parties rise in their stead. We're going to see like a real Conservative Party rise, and we may see parties further to the left rise as well, like maybe the Greens and the Socialists will pick up. The
current trend in Europe, especially.
I'm feeling
that's kind of where I'm going with this
old
as
school
well.
establishment parties are dying, and you've got the growth of nationalist parties and far left parties.
I'm feeling a bit confident now, so I'll bring up the Firefox screen share. So that's the results there of the New South Wales election.
And this is the funniest thing about the One Nation. I just want to point this out. You know how they're all going nuts about, oh, One Nation are going to weaken gun laws. They're going to weaken gun laws. Have a look at the election result, you absolute idiots.
Well, that's the lower house vote there. So Labor Party primary of 33%, Liberal Party 32%, Nationals 10%, Greens 9%, Independent 5%, Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party 3.5%. They picked up 3 lower house seats. Now, One Nation only got 1% in the lower house, but let's have a look at the upper house.
It's down, isn't it?
If I go to the Legislative Council, I'm adapting with you guys, going in various tangents. I'm moving, they're moving.
Yeah, well done.
So see, I'm adapting. So there's the upper house projections at the moment. So Labor, Liberal, National only got 30% each.
Yeah. So even if you throw in the Greens there, 70% of people have voted for anyone but the big three. That's No, not 70. Sorry, 30%. 70% of people have voted for the big three.
Yeah, that's huge.
Well, it's like, what is it? 71%. So 29% of people have voted for anyone but the major parties. This is where the election is going to be fought, and these major parties are completely deluded if they think that their current mode of shaming and attacking people like Fraser Anning and One Nation is going to go over well with the electorate. It's just going to send people to those parties.
The others should start
I know you
making...
said not to interrupt, but we have got a few super chats that we have to read out. So D1 Style says, did you guys see that the New Zealand government has banned the manifesto but is now selling for $102 talk about double standards?
That's horrendous. That's not just a double standard. That's immoral.
And Dear Beltran set
Well, they need to
through
base their economy on something other than sheep.
both these super chats $5. Dear Beltran said, Tim, publicly praise Neil on Facebook and prove you're uncuckable. Yeah. All right, I'll do that. That's worth $5.
Do it on your personal account, so the personal account.
And we've got D Ruber, who sent through $20.
There's another one back there, up there.
Wolfie Winks, 99 cents.
Okay, Wolfie, thanks for the 99 cents, but next time please make it 88 cents. Well, I mean, it's 10, I know it's 11 cents less, but it would be much cooler.
Yeah, because this is the Uncuckables.
This is the Uncuckables. $14.88.
So we're going to have like subscription tiers of like either $14.88 or $19.73.
1973.
Yes. You don't know what
Pinochet. That was Pinochet. Yeah.
What, $17.88 is even better.
I quite like 1936. That's when Franco started rolling.
I did see. I know I'm going to go on a tangent. There was a picture of this item that was priced at $19.88. And the store marked it down $5, but on the markdown, they marked it down to $14.87.
Oh,
they know.
They know. I would have gone in and said, I'll give you $14.88 for it. Make it $14.88 and I'll pay with my card.
Here's a tip.
Here's 1 cent. It's got to be $14.
Now, going to the rest of the Legislative Council result, One Nation...
I was just going to say, the others should actually band together and say, look, we're going to preference the majors last.
They should.
Well, that's what the preference whisperer Glenn Drury has always said, but
Right.
That's why they changed the Senate rules for the last federal election to make it harder for the minor parties to stick together. But
people can still just number 1 to 12 below the box, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen there. Just they can tell their constituents and tell their voters, just don't vote for the major parties at all, and we will put all the major parties last.
Port Film Co-op has given another $2. All proceeds go towards David's microphone.
Oh, really? I need to speak up, huh?
Oh, well, you're just quiet anyway.
Yeah,
I am a little.
You're quiet. Speak from the chest. He needs to have speech training. You've got to speak from here.
Thanks, Matty.
No worries. Here.
So
we've got another.
Oh, hey, I'll just get through these results so I can take it off the screen. So One Nation have got a seat, which is Mark Latham. Shooters, Visitors and Farmers Party retain their seat. Keep Sydney Open, which is... It sounds...
They're an entertainment sort of thing. So you know how in Sydney they've got the lockout?
Yeah.
They're basically a one-issue party regarding the lockout. So I think it's fantastic that they've got a seat. This is only half the upper house, though, isn't it? So what's the full makeup of the upper house now?
Yes.
Can we actually see it?
So Liberal Democrats they haven't got a full quota, but they're projected to get one. So David Leyonhjelm has reinvented himself as a state politician for the next 8 years. And if I go up, there's one seat in doubt. So it's Labor 7, Coalition 7, Green 2, One Nation 1, Shooters 1, Keep Sydney Open, Liberal Democrats 1, and well, you'd hope it's the Christian Democrats, not the Animal Justice Party.
You would hope that. Could be Sustainable Australia as well.
We've just got another super chat. Philip Cunningham, Australian Meditations has had massive restrictions placed on it. The establishment is clearly anti-Australian and hates our heritage and identity. Subscribe to Australian Meditations.
So I spoke to Matty about this, and I said that he should be appealing most of them, because a lot of the restrictions are just news reports and things like that. and it looks like it's algorithmic, because a lot of the videos that have been restricted just shouldn't be restricted. So it's probably something algorithmic, something's flagged about his channel, and they've gone through, and anything with certain tags has been noted as restricted. He should just appeal every single one of them, and I wouldn't be surprised if most of them are just made fine again. It was probably some sort of algorithm thing.
Because that's what's happened with your channel, yeah? You get flagged every now and then.
No, I've only ever had one put into restricted, and that was because of a mistake with the algorithm.
I noticed that a lot of the videos on Ozmeds were of Blair just speaking solo, a lot of his old videos.
And he's got things like that ABC, Vox Pop, and a lot of old nationalist footage, and him reading essays, and a lot of content of that regards, and news reports, phrase running, and all that kind of thing. And he's got thousands and thousands. He's got thousands of videos. I think like 2,000 videos or something like that. Very little of his own content. Matty, come on, you should put more of your own content up. Read essays.
He needs to do playlists, because he does do a lot of Australian meditations.
I told Australian Meditations, I told you months and months and months ago to make playlists on your channel, so that when people go there, they can easily scroll and find the kind of content that look like, you know, news reports and old ABC footage and old politicians and essays read by Matty and all this kind of stuff, so that people, when they go there, it's easier to find the content. They don't have to search through it one by one, or that if they don't know what they're looking for, then they have to go through the entire archive.
You better do it, Matty. Matty just keeps going at you till you do it.
Yeah. He commented playlists are gay.
Well, your mum's gay then.
So where are we at now? What's the time now? Going for less than now. I think we're making good time. Everyone's entertained. We're up to 86 watching. So
we don't talk about the view count while we're on the. It's like you don't talk about Fight Club, you know. You don't talk about the view count. What is wrong with you? You're an amateur, mate.
Fair.
Morgan's shaking his head over there.
I think you're an amateur,
man. I am actually.
Morgan's the absent producer over there.
He said that I was an amateur, and I agreed. So do you want to talk about something else?
Yeah, where are we at now? Oh yeah, let's go back to let's talk about Egg Boy. So this
did you before you go into that, did you get the story today with Lisa Wilkinson is basically forced to defend? It was on Channel 7 News, I think, where she was forced to defend themselves, saying that no, we don't think Egg Boy's a hero, after a massive backlash from the audience. Wow. It's absolutely slammed the project for turning him on. It's hilarious.
And it seems that Egg Boy, to use the pun, he's cracked. He hasn't handled this well.
Nah.
He's a kid.
Yeah. That's
the only thing that he can be forgiven for. And I think that he is a fool. And he'll hopefully learn from this. He's got so many people in the oh look, all these leftists like, oh, he's a hero. But a normal person is going to look at that and think, what the hell? Why are you throwing an egg over a senior citizen's head? That's ridiculous. That's horrendous. And if it was any other politician, he would have been fine and thrown.
Well, I have conservative traditionalist friends who were very left wing when they were teenagers. Yeah, and it's a common path, you know. And it's the old saying, like if you're over 40. And you're if you're a socialist, if you're not a socialist at 20, you don't have a heart, and if you're still a socialist at 40, you don't have a brain. I don't know what that says about me, because I've been not a socialist since I was 14. I've never been a socialist.
Yeah,
so we're just heartless.
We've got another super chat.
We actually are.
Wolfie Winks, $2.99. I did 99 cents to be cheaper than the Slayer.
Well, you could have done it cheaper than the Slayer as well, with 88 cents.
Yeah,
I mean, even cheaper.
Dear Beltran, $2. Morgan is my boyfriend.
Morgan, and Dia sitting in a tree. We can't go off the deep end.
Yeah, securing the existence of our people.
1, 2, 3.
Now we have.
Well, she's more than half white, actually. So you would be doing that.
Ryan was an abomination.
So we've talked about Egg Boy, but this week we learned about Eggman, which is this person called John Murphy in the UK, a 31-year-old Brexit supporter. We both wrote about this, both the Unshackled and XYZ. He, at the Finsbury Park Mosque, which, ironically, that's where the revenge car attack occurred in the UK. So that's a bit of a fun fact there. He egged Jeremy Corbyn, who was making a public appearance there, and he's been sentenced to 21 days jail. So lesson of the week is you can't egg a commie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, if you throw an egg at a leftist, you get arrested and fined. Like that bloke who egged or threw an egg and missed Julia Gillard a few years ago and got a $1,500 fine. But a kid goes and eggs. He missed. Exactly. And then this kid goes up behind a bloke and hits him in the back of the head. Like actually, bang, hits him in the back of the head and gets an interview on the project where they essentially treat him like a hero, and all these leftists are like, oh, this is great. And here's the thing, on my vlog, I had so many comments, mostly from foreigners, but also from lefties, saying, oh, he deserved it, you shouldn't say this kind of thing, basically justifying
that's
political violence.
That's typical. That's typical of the left too.
Of course.
They consider our words to be violence.
Yeah.
They consider their own violence to be political action.
Yeah.
Every conservative I know understands that you barely even raise your arms. Like, we are so careful about how we conduct ourselves in public, because we know that everything that we say and do is going to be construed as some kind of violence. And the left know that, and they know that they can take advantage of that. They know that they get a free run as well.
And then when they do something, they get treated as heroes. But then a guy calls himself an eco-fascist, which is socialism, and a communist supporter of China, and all of a sudden we're all culpable because I don't understand. I don't understand. Apparently, saying opinions that the left don't like ends up.
That's why they've banned the manifesto, and you're not allowed to talk about it anymore.
Well, you can talk about it in Australia. It's only New Zealand that you're not allowed. And New Zealand,
it's interesting
so
that
silly in New Zealand, isn't it?
It's interesting that they get that he trolled Candace Owens.
Yeah.
But they still arrest Martin Sellner because somebody with the surname Tarrant donated money to Sellner's organisation. Like, so, you know, like, they know, like, they're being selective in how they target
all the
people.
way over in Austria. I mean, seriously. I mean, Martin Sellner, I hope, is getting lots and lots of donations. And so, yeah, he's probably not keeping track. Like,
Are you an identitarian secretly, Tim?
Identitarian? Well,
Are you a 1488?
No, I'm not.
You're not a 1488.
I certainly believe that Australia should be kept as it was intended. That doesn't mean it has to be completely full of white people, but immigrants who come here, and it does need to be controlled, need to not just integrate, but assimilate. I think assimilation shouldn't be a dirty word
Give you
anymore.
6 months, you'll be white nationalist.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. He's slowly getting there. But that's essentially my position, to be honest. Like, that's basically where I'm sitting at. I think that if you're married to a foreigner, you should be able to bring them in. Because if you're married to someone who's a foreigner, then they're going to come in, they're going to assimilate, and then within 2-3 generations, it's going to be Australian anyway.
Well, let's talk about...
It's just going to be a
that
genetic
segues to the next topic. George Christensen, who... Well, he had a reputation of being a nationalist MP. He was, all about Australia first. But we just learnt yesterday that he's been spending 11 weeks a year in the Philippines. He's marrying a Filipino woman.
Well, have you seen the bloke?
Yes.
And have you seen Filipino women?
Yeah.
She's okay. She's all right for a Filipino.
But
they're much hotter.
He's entitled to marry who he wants. Love is love, to use the expression.
He's entitled to marry who he wants. Definitely, and I don't think that we should stop him from doing that. However, we should be encouraging people to marry within as close to their ethnicity as possible. There's crimes of ignorance, like if you didn't understand the situation at the time, then obviously all is forgiven. But if you do understand and then you go and do something else, then maybe it's still okay. If love is love, you can marry whoever the hell you want. But if you're going to be 1488, then you need to, in the future, work towards the 1488.
Well, remember he appeared on the Dingoes podcast. That was a big deal a couple of years ago.
Here's the thing. Not only is love is love, but like I said, look at the guy and look at the girl, and she's relatively attractive. The guy's gone over there. He's met someone of the opposite sex who is willing to be willing, and he's willing.
The main reason why I think this is a significant story because not because his fiance is Filipino, but the fact that he was spending 11 weeks there when he's supposed to be a politician working for Australia.
I'd be quite happy for a lot of Australian politicians to spend 11 weeks overseas.
But the thing is, he was doing
as a libertarian.
Yes,
like,
but he was doing charity work over in the Philippines, where a lot of people would be saying charity begins at home. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. He should be doing charity work in Australia. But do you want to read that super chat?
Oh, yeah, James Fox Higgins. Don't forget to plug the new Uncockables YouTube channel, dudes, and I want this $5 back, sure. Well, the reason why we're on there...
You can't have the $5 back because YouTube take 30% of it. So you can have $4, was it, whatever that is. Is it $3.50?
30% of $5.
Well, the main reason why we're on the Unshackled channel tonight is because we created the Unshackled channel, but because I still don't know my way around YouTube, I didn't know that you had to, after activating live stream, you have to wait 24 hours, and I was like, "Doh!"
It is what it is. I think it's actually it's good to do it on this channel first to let people know.
Yeah.
Get over to the Uncockables channel. Is it linked in the description? Is it?
Yep, and it will be after I've done this.
Yeah.
I can't do everything at once.
I'll read this. I'll read this one out here.
Well, thankfully nobody in New Zealand will understand what we're talking about because they're not allowed to watch it. They don't know what we're talking about.
I just can't read his name out.
Dude, we're called the Uncockables. You have to read it.
Oh, I'll do it if you can't do it.
I'm gonna do it. It's just funny. Joseph Gerbelcock. It said it's $5. Thank you very much. And he said, remember to subscribe to PewDiePie. Everyone subscribe to PewDiePie.
And this is part of the contractual obligations of Super Chats. If someone sends through a Super Chat, you read it out.
We read it out.
It's YouTube's rules.
Well, what's wrong with saying subscribe to PewDiePie? I'm a big PewDiePie fan. I am subscribed to PewDiePie.
It's the new Allah Akbar. Didn't you know that?
Oh, is it just?
Yes.
Isn't that how ridiculous is that? That is peak. So I should go and get a nice, some pearls and just clutch them like this and say I'm a leftist.
Where are we at now in topics? I think we've still got a few good ones.
Tim has to read the Dia's super chat. Thank you so much for all these super chats, guys.
Yeah, Dia sending through $5.88. We must secure the existence of our people in a future for white children.
Can you say it while looking into the camera?
Fine. I'll say it. I'll have it in front of me.
No, you don't. No. Just say it straight down the camera.
We must secure. We must secure the existence of our people in a future for white children.
That is going to be a fantastic.
I did say it on a previous episode of the Unshackled Ways when I was.
Were you paid to do that as well?
No, I was paraphrasing.
Thanks, Dave, for the $5.88.
It was when Alex Mann, or Alex Manlet, as you call him, first did the expose on the Lads Society, and I was mentioning that they uncovered all of these 1488 posts, and I said, for people who don't know, 14 means the 14 words, and I said them out. So I have said them before.
And it's funny that the left consider it more white supremacy too, because the 14 words are basically saying we must secure the existence of our people. So I mean, it's saying white people need to exist. And the 88 precepts, see, I thought the 88 precepts were maybe there was something a little bit more extreme about them, but I actually read them and they're just an extension of the 14 words. Ultimately, there is nothing in there that could be considered even remotely hateful. In fact, one of the precepts says we don't hate people of other races. Like, it specifically says that in the precepts.
Well, there's the thing about the left, like they're trying to not only criminalize like an entire political system, they're trying to criminalize the way that we communicate as well. And so you notice the way that in recent weeks they have not really mentioned the phrase neo-Nazi all that much. They're shifting the language that they use to talk about the far right,
White supremacist.
yeah, white supremacist. They use the term the white replacement myth.
And there was when I was, because I did another live show earlier tonight with my New Zealand counterpart Dewey de Boer, and I was researching about their white nationalist movement over there, the Dominion movement, which is they've disappeared offline post Christchurch. But it's always the case when they're profiling this group, they always have these like academics to say, oh, this is how bad they are. And they even went as far to say that the murder of white farmers in South Africa, oh, that's another white nationalist myth.
How do these people sleep at night? Oh, that's right, I remember. They're satanic and flat out evil. I was trying to work it out in my head. They are satanic. They are flat out evil people. It's like that meme that even Paul Joseph Watson shared it, where one was how the myth of white replacement is racist, sexist, Islamophobic, blah, 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 blah. And then next to it at the New York Times, we will replace you. It's like they're just next to each other. It's like, okay. And then in that Blair Cottrell article, the hit piece, where Tarrant had once commented, maybe we didn't see the metadata, we don't know if it's true or not, whatever.
Yeah, so just believe us.
Just believe us. We're the ABC. We would never lie about nationalists. We promise you.
Yeah.
They've got a quote from the SPLC who has, and in the quote they said, oh, it's this myth that white people are being replaced and all da-da-da-da-da. Mark Potok of the SPLC literally had a note on his wall tracking white replacement.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in my latest video, but what level of psychopathic evil does it take for them to push these ideas? To tell us first that they're going to replace us, and then when we say, no, we don't like that, we don't want you to do that, they then turn around and say, oh, no, it's not real, it's not actually happening, stop it, you don't believe it, it's not real. You're a white supremacist if you say that. But like, you said that you were going to replace us. You said that. Those were your words, and the statistics clearly match your words. We can see the white population. We can see mass immigration, where it's coming from. We can see the birth rates. We can see all the facts. These are objective, verified facts. They're government statistics, and they're your words. And then all of a sudden, it's a myth because we say, no, you can't do that. We find that extremely unconscionable. I don't understand how people can be that lacking in a soul, essentially.
Well, we touched on Alex Mann's article, and that was followed by a Four Corners episode called Under the Radar. I did. It was a busy Monday night. There was Egg Boy on the project, then there was my interview with Blair, then there was Four Corners, and of course XYZ Live. So I squeezed in Four Corners, and it was by this reporter, Sean Rubenstein Dunlop, and supposedly this was going to expose the white supremacist threat in Australia, but it contained absolutely nothing. It was just a whole bunch of experts saying this is really concerning, and oh, you know, we need to be aware of these people. There was nothing new.
What I find interesting is they do these so-called exposés, but I have literally never been asked. I consider myself not an expert on the Australian white ethnic nationalist movement. I'm also a qualified journalist, yet I've never even once been asked about it. Not even once. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because I might say things or tell certain truths that might not fit their narrative.
Back in 2016, when The Age did their attempted hit piece on us, which basically just doubled your viewership and doubled our viewership, they, like, I think for both of us, the journalist emailed both of us, and I ignored him, and I think you ignored him as well.
Yeah, I think it turned up in my spam folder, and by the time I emailed back, it was too late. It was his deadline.
Yeah, that was literally the last time the XYZ has been emailed for comment by a mainstream media journalist.
That's the thing, if you comment anyway, they take you out of context or lie. So it's almost even if they did contact you, why would you even bother talking to them?
And this is why they won't contact us now, because they see that we're getting more influence, and so they know they hate us, but they can't mention us because they know that it'll just make people turn to us.
Well, they did mention us. Do you not remember that they mentioned us?
Oh yes, in the graphic.
We were the top left.
Excuse me, we were described as the go-to outlet of the far right in Australia.
But nobody gets round to the bottom one. Everybody just reads the top one.
XYZ. right there at the top.
What is it?
Perfect.
XYZ rules?
Yeah. Your own words. XYZ rules. Unshackled
hang on, we'll give him
rules.
$5.
Yeah, I read that out for $5.
Is that? I don't remember the $5.
Yeah, it was the super chat.
Oh, was it?
Oh, another
I must
another
have been drunk.
super chat.
I was going to say, just on that thing though, like Facebook, like banning Blair, banning Neil, banning Avi, in relation to basically straight after the Christchurch shooting. The mainstream media, they wait until something like this happens. Like the ABC waited until the synagogue shooting to mention the XYZ. The Fairfax have waited until the Christchurch shooting to mention both the Unshackled and the XYZ. Again, that's essentially, by inference, that's defamation. Because they're only mentioning us once something like this has happened. They only feel safe.
I remember
to
the
mention us.
Unshackled was also mentioned in this Herald Sun report. I forget the reporter's names. Name. I know that Senator Slayer, if you're still there, tell me what the reporter's name was in the chat. But writing about how fake news was on the rise, and that Ricky T was almost lynched on Australia Day. That was an example of fake news, and they mention a lot of the popular Facebook pages and mention the Unshackled, and then they had, of course, experts in fake news, and of course News Corp, they quoted, what was it, some social media analyzer, and it was their own company.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
yes.
And I love how they said he was nearly lynched. It's fake news. Whilst you can actually see the footage of a
He was
guy
literally
getting-
surrounded by people.
surrounded by leftists. What do they
Dragging
think would have
him along
happened
the
if
way.
the police
Yeah,
went there?
yeah.
And if you actually look at the definition of the term lynched, it doesn't necessarily mean killed. It just means mob violence without a trial. It can mean that. So even by the definition of the word, even if it wasn't going to be deadly, he was still nearly lynched. So it wasn't fake news at all.
Well,
It was 100% true.
We've got this super
It's
chat for $16.83. What's the significance of that amount? Do you know?
1683.
Yes, it's the Battle of Vienna, when the coalition of European armies stopped the Ottomans, and Jan
you know
Sobieski
that.
on his winged hussars, he led the last great cavalry charge in history.
Nice
Yeah.
comment there, Kale Climate.
Imagine you have absolute power in Australia for one day. What do you do?
For one day, I immediately restored
Ban
the
white chocolate.
Constitution. Immediately restored the Constitution, set myself up as dictator for life because I have absolute power, and
Ban bus lanes.
ban bus lanes. Oh, would you ban bus lanes?
Yeah,
Why would you ban bus lanes?
because
After speaking with you the other day, I'd tell the AFL to go back to the substitute rule.
Yes.
But I'd make it per quarter, so you only get 4 substitutes per
Yeah, okay.
quarter.
Yep.
Unless an injury, then you can bring someone back on. So get rid of this silly interchange rule. And then I'd cut all income tax down to 0, close the borders, restore the Constitution as intended for, for us, as our founders actually genuinely intended. Get rid of the income tax, get rid of company tax, deregulate industrial relations, set up a import tariff system, bring back Australian jobs, man. Bring back Australian
would
productivity.
you make Australia grass again?
I would make Australia amazeballs. Ma. So it is. Make Australia amazing. Ma.
Where to start? My first action would be cutting all government funding to existing arts and sporting groups and just starting again.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
Imagine, like they.
And all tertiary education, I'd set up a voucher system for schooling and only do it for 8 years. So you get 8 years of schooling paid for, and you pay via a voucher.
But the left, they even have a cry if you cut funding to the
We have absolute power.
Premier's literary awards.
We have absolute power. There's
Only
nothing
for a
they can do.
day.
But we've already set ourselves up as dictators for life with absolute power.
I think it also goes without saying that we'd pretty much we'd abolish the ABC.
Oh yes.
Oh, definitely.
Replace ABC and SBS with the Unshackled and XYZ.
Not even replace. Not even replace. Just get rid of them.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them.
Honestly, I don't
and-
trust myself with $1 billion
Yeah.
of Australians' money.
Yeah, I would give the money back to the Australian people because that's just the kind of guy that I am.
So what do we got left to talk about? I think we've covered everything. I think there's just Brexit.
Do we have to talk about Brexit? We'll wait until the story's actually finished. They got a semi. I think I was going to do a video on Brexit, but then I thought, why don't we just wait until there's actually a real story that we can comment on and let guys like Sargon of Akkad and the English YouTubers and English activists worry about it.
And check out the Unshackled's UK counterpart, Political Light. They do a lot of Brexit and Tommy coverage. So, and it's very very on the mark. They're very what's the term? Salacious.
Salacious.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is that the word of the day?
Yes, word of the day. Oh, we're gonna have word of.
In the future, we are going to do things like little skits that we can put in there. And all this kind of stuff that we got planned.
Yeah.
It's just, this one was our premiere episode where we're just going to introduce the actual format to the people. James Fox Higgins will be joining us, and we thought we'd show the background. And all
I've got to say, I'm really happy that we've cut off Tasmania from Australia. That's great.
Oh, yes. I noticed that James in the comments said that there should be a cuck of the week. James, maybe the next step is to have a cuck of the week.
Well, who was the cuck of the week this week? Chris Kenny. Chris Kenny, you are the cuck of the week.
Well, I think more like he'll definitely be on the Unshackled Cuck of the Year award nominee.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely gut-wrenching watching that video, because he started off so well. It was like, well, we don't blame Muslims and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, where's he going with this? But it's Blair Cottrell's fault. Like, wow, I did not expect that. That is absolute garbage.
The ABC and Blair Cottrell working
together.
It's their fault.
It's their fault. The ABC did it first. So what are you on drugs, Chris? What is wrong with you? Maybe you should take that $200,000 a year and stop taking hallucinogenics before you start working. Jeez.
Well, Chris Kenny, for those who
that's being facetious.
Who don't know, his previous life, Chris Kenny was as an advisor to Alexander Downer as foreign minister.
Alexander Downer, he was a bit of a downer.
Did he advise him to, pose in the fishnet stockings and the high heels?
I don't know. Anyway, so thanks everyone for watching tonight. Next. Will we do? What are your thoughts? Will we do next week?
Every second week or next week?
I can go next week.
Yeah, I guess next week.
Yeah. So we just made an executive decision there.
I think maybe we can chat about this.
Yeah, that's it. Because I'm not 100% sure if I can make it every single week, but I can try. I can do my very, very best to make it. It's the Uncockables. It doesn't necessarily need to be the exact same panel. Fox Higgins failed on us this week. He said that he was sick. But really, we know. I think James Fox Higgins is actually secretly an Archon.
What?
He's secretly an Archon.
Archon?
An Archon, yeah. An interdimensional being that feeds off our energy and implants the communist brain virus.
I thought you were going to say he could be an Al Jazeera journalist. Anyone we encounter now could be an Al Jazeera journalist.
He could be an Al Jazeera journalist. I'm an Al Jazeera journalist. Didn't you know that?
Oh, the cameras are on. Shit.
Basically, the XYZ has been an Al Jazeera sting for the last 3.5 years, pretty much.
We've just been trying to get people in to get them to say silly things, and I don't know.
Yeah, and then we'll just publish it all.
You're leading by example.
Me. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think JB is an Archon at all. I don't think that's true. That was just very silly. I was really desperate to think of something to say, so I said Archon.
So Baron Somerville has said, "Awesome show, guys. Looking forward to seeing Australian Meditations on." He will be on.
Mm-hmm.
You've now been. He's expressed an interest, but I think he's being drafted into coming on.
Yeah, he'll have to. Although we might get put into limited state if he comes on.
And we will feature other guests for each show. We might have some special guests.
Can we swap? Can we actually go to them through Skype and actually?
Yes, we can.
Oh, we can. So we can actually have a short, a 10-minute interview and things like that.
Yeah, we could have a different guest in every state of Australia. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I'm not sure how yet to split the Skype guests so they appear in different corners of the thing.
That's all right. All you need to do is just make it half, or just put them up there and put us down in a. Why are we talking shop while we're live? I don't understand.
Oh, because we're wanting to give the audience a bit of an insight into how this show's come together.
Fair enough. Well, that's what we can do as independent content creators, and this is what the mainstream media can't do. This is why we keep winning, and this is why they hate us. Because we can make amazeballs content just in this fine studio here, but they need to spend millions of dollars on cameras and studio equipment and all this kind of stuff, and you've clearly gone the budget.
Yeah.
Gone the low budget.
Yeah, and they have, like, each show has about 7 producers. I know that's what Q&A has for an hour a week of just lefties clapping.
Wow.
Yeah.
We just turn up and talk.
Yeah, I went to uni with one of the producers of Q&A too. I bet she loves me when she sees me.
Anyway,
She's actually a lovely girl.
since as you
Even
said,
though she's
we're talking shop, we'll call it a night for night. Call it a night for tonight. Thank you for everybody who watched. As I said, we'll be back with more shows, and we're on a dedicated Uncuckables channel so make sure I'll add it to the description after this show. So I think we've already got 15 subscribers on the channel
You can
already.
just Google or YouTube just the Uncuckables and it'll be there.
Yeah, we're linking to it.
I also
we'll link to it on the XYZ number
linked on my Gab account. Make sure you're following everyone over on Gab.
Everyone's there.
Minds, MeWe, all these things. Is everyone there? You reckon everyone's? They probably all are.
Yeah.
Just follow us there, and it is now everyone's patriotic duty to get everyone you know to get off Facebook. We have to make it our goal to collapse Facebook as a company, because they have outed themselves as essentially supporting the genocide of the white race by extension. I know that seems a little bit of an exaggeration, but have a look at their policy. They don't want anyone to be able to express the support of white nationalism and white supremacy. And what do they call white supremacy? Things like 1488 and it's okay to be white. So we need to get people off Facebook. Get them off Facebook. It is now imperative and our patriotic duty, as I said, to completely wipe that platform off the face of the planet and hopefully have everyone forget it within a generation, because it is absolutely disgusting that kind of thing is allowed to survive in our day and age. Facebook does not deserve to exist. It's anti-white, and Mark Zuckerberg should be ashamed of himself, and the executives should be ashamed of themselves, and the ABC should be ashamed of themselves, and the entire mainstream media should be ashamed of themselves for the lies that they have spread. But you know what? We'll just keep telling the truth, and we'll win in the end, because we have the truth.
Shame, shame, shame.
Shame, shame, shame on you. I will sit here and make 1,000 shows for free, knowing that every single show that I make will mean one less person watches the ABC, and it will be worth it.
David, do you want the final word since...
I'm done.
Done?
That's what everyone always says. David doesn't talk enough. Stop dominating the microphone. But that's because he stops talking and I have to talk.
All right, I'll attempt to play us out.
Exactly. I like to talk. He likes to listen. That's
play
the
us
whole
out
point.
here. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back with a new show on another Thursday.
Go the Hawks.